This Christmas, give the gift of fun. The most wonderful time of the year happens here at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Shop in-store or online at academy.com to save on gifts for everybody's list. Find everything from football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands. Academy carries all the hottest gear from top brands including Nike, Adidas, Carhartt, Yeti, and Pit Boss. Give the gift of fun this holiday season at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
On December 16th, ID presents a new documentary event.
My dad disappeared off the face of the earth.
Uncover a 56-year-old mystery.
I asked Mike to come to the psychic with me.
The psychic was murder. He is in the basement.
And dig up the truth.
We were digging for months. There was nothing. All of a sudden, I hit something with the shovel. The police need to see this.
I kept that a secret for a long time.
The Secrets We Bury, an ID documentary event, December 16th at 9 on ID.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts, and on this episode, he's one of Britain's most infamous killers, accused of murdering his whole family. Can overlooked evidence prove he was wrongfully convicted? We'll discuss the new season of In the Dark, Blood Relatives. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and the love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us, private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Rip Current, More Like Ancient Phalians, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon book club podcast, Toby Ball. Hi, Toby.
Hey, Rebecca.
So, Kevin, this is Monday's program.
It is.
What's coming up on Thursday's show?
On Thursday, we're going to talk about the series on Peacock called All Her Fault.
All right, can't wait to talk about that one. Laura, quick question for you.
Because women are tricky.
We are tricky.
Yeah.
Quick question for you, Laura.
Yes.
Are you drunk?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I had I was writing an article for the home and food section about Glühwein. And when I went out to do the interview at 11:30, they're like, well, you need to sample some of this Glühwein.
Tell people what Glühwein is for those who don't know, everybody.
It's a more fancy sounding mulled wine. It's German mulled wine. Mm-hmm. They serve it in Christmas markets in Germany and Switzerland when it's time to go shopping. And my local vineyard over in Newfields is now making it and serving it for the winter.
Listen, local vineyards in New Hampshire are known for the best quality alcohol. That's for sure.
Yeah, this one isn't bad.
I'll just say I was really surprised when we went to Europe in September how big Christmas is in Germany and Switzerland, just as a theme. There's so many Christmas stores. And then they talk about the Christmas market. I can't even imagine what the Christmas market would be like. Sounds like it would be really, really something.
Apparently that's your first stop. I interviewed my friend Rolf, who is actually from Switzerland, about this. And he said that's the first stop when you go to the Christmas market is the Glühwein stand.
Oh, nice.
Fortify yourself.
I just remember Hickory Farms.
Yeah.
Or what wasn't Hickory Farm? What was the place where you get summer sausage and beef sticks and what was that?
That was Hickory Farms. My grandmother used to really like the mustard from there. So
yeah, it was like a mall store, right?
It wasn't even a mall store; it was a mall stand in our mall.
Yes, right.
It was
exactly.
It would pop up right after Thanksgiving and be gone by New Year's.
What is that other brand that you sometimes get gift boxes from and everything in it is terrible?
Harry
and
David.
Yeah.
The pears.
Not a sponsor of this program. The pears are fine. They're just pears. But all the cheeses and meats are what you would get in a Lunchable. They're so... And they have great branding. So it looks like it's going to be fancy. And then you open it and you're like, Disappointing sausage.
Well, if you get those pears, you can also add them to the glue vine and then put them on salad.
Oh, all right.
A little tip that I'm adding in my article.
Amazing.
Or you could just throw them away.
No, we ate them last time.
Put them on the salad, a little blue cheese, a little candied pecan. Very good.
All right. All right, Kevin, we have a big podcast to talk about. Should we get to that?
Let's do that.
All right. Leading off.
They appeared to have all the advantages in the world. Wealth, glamour, status. But in this family, things were not always as they seemed.
Jeremy Bamber was convicted of killing his parents, his sister, and nephews in 1985. The Whitehouse Farm murders became England's most sinister case, cementing Bamber as the nation's most infamous criminal. And to this day, many remain convinced he is the cold-blooded killer behind the massacre.
Well, I certainly have. And I kind of thought maybe the thing to do, since we're going to be going at this in 10-minute chunks, is just to kind of go through things in this somewhat chronological order, if that makes sense.
I'm leaving this to you, Heidi.
Yeah, okay.
You can have me fried, poached, scrambled, flambéed, however you want me.
But New Yorker reporter Heidi Blake looked into why police turned away from their original theory that the deaths were a murder-suicide at the hands of Bamber's schizophrenic sister. The investigative reporter found that Bamber's relatives may have manipulated evidence, detectives altered the scene, and authorities may have suppressed evidence in an effort to get and maintain a conviction.
If there was a call from inside the farmhouse, it sort of doesn't quite make sense that, that would have happened, and because that would indicate someone was alive in there, basically. They're all dead by the time.
Obviously, yeah.
From the team at In the Dark and The New Yorker comes Blood Relatives. The series reopens one of the country's darkest chapters with fresh scrutiny. Blake topples popular belief that Jeremy Bamber slaughtered his family by uncovering new evidence, including an interview with a dispatch operator who says his report about that night was forged. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from Blood Relatives. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So, Laura, the police kind of got on to Jeremy Bamber when his cousin wrote some fan fiction about him doing the murder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the beginning, they didn't. So this cousin, there's a couple cousins, and it's like this typical family story of everybody's going to be fighting over the assets in the aftermath of this. So these cousins are like, we think this is what's happening. They go out, they start recreating things. And then the one cousin starts basically writing this narrative about it that I love the way that Heidi explained, reads like fan fiction.
And here, Robert relates the words that he imagined Jeremy must have spoken. Wake up, Sheila. Mummy wants you to say prayers with her. Lie down here, darling. Put the Bible on your chest, he supposedly said, before shooting Sheila and laying the rifle in her hands.
It includes wearing a wetsuit at one point to escape detection and having blood and DNA. Goes through, why Jeremy did this, how he broke through a window and snuck out and made it seem like the house was locked from the inside. And then some dramatic language, how he sprayed the bodies with bullets to make it look like the work of a maniac. And then this part was also peculiar, kind of imagining what people would say. Again, really got into the head of Jeremy, allegedly. Waking up the sister and saying something, wake up, Sheila. Mommy wants us to say some prayers with you. Before saying, okay, you're going to die now. Lie down here. And also put a Bible on your chest. There was just a lot of really bizarre details. So at first blush, the police are like, yeah, bullshit. We don't believe you. We think that this is a murder-suicide. And then they get this one detective. Apparently, he's an avid reader and believes the fan fiction.
Yeah. So, Kevin, this case reminds me a little bit of the Amanda Knox case because I think a big portion of the population in England will never change their mind, right, about whether or not Bamber did it.
Yeah. I mean, what's working against Bamber is that he is so thoroughly ingrained in the public consciousness as the killer, right? So he's not going to get the same kind of sympathy that maybe a different defendant, someone you don't know about, and you're like, oh, well, people aren't coming to it necessarily with an open mind because they know so much, right? It's to many, this is like done and dusted. And so that's one of the things he's got working against him. And also like Amanda Knox, a lot of what ended up happening is that he is, we'll say, peculiar. or unconventional. And so all these things get played off as sinister, right? And this is like mid-'80s and, farmland in England. And so to maybe be gender fluid is not a typical thing, right? And so that like is a sign of somebody who is a deviant or, something like that. And he's kind of a dandy too. And he does these things where maybe he smiles at the wrong time and it's kind of inappropriate. He's a bit vain. So those are all things that sort of like, oh, maybe he did something bad. They posit here that perhaps the reason the cousins were all willing to put him in a bad light for investigators was because there's money involved. But also it's kind of, he makes for a serviceable alternative suspect.
Yeah. Toby, can you talk about those things that were working against Jeremy at that time when police were sort of investigating this case?
Yeah, well, I think in the 80s, like homophobia was still like a real thing in England, which really worked against him. I think they mentioned that he painted his nails, was basically sort of an alternative type. And then he also, for whatever reason, decides like after his parents die to like go on a vacation with his girlfriend and basically seems like he's quote unquote living it up. And I think all these things, again, when you're in the public eye and there's sort of expectations as to how you're going to act in certain situations, it doesn't look like mourning. I think another thing he did is he winked out the back window of the police car when he was being taken away. And when she asks him about it, he's like, well, I just wanted to reassure people that everything was going to be fine. It's like, well, I guess it's like it's just kind of a weird thing to do because A, things probably could very well not be fine, and B, like winking or smiling in those situations seems like you're not taking it very seriously. Plus, he was doing drugs, right? He was marijuana, stuff like that, and
not marijuana.
I know.
I was going to say that's the devil's work right there.
Exactly.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah. If he gets into anime next, it's horrible.
And I think you just get a sense from, when they talked to the cousins, David and Ann, that he was a bit of a dick, when he was younger. And they didn't like him because they were older, but they found him like impertinent and just sort of acting in a way that they didn't feel was appropriate in a lot of different situations.
Right. Laura, what surprises me about this case was, we very often knock investigators for not doing due diligence, for coming up with a theory very early and then ignoring everything else or subtly changing things that it all fits. They had a much easier, in my opinion, earlier theory that they could have latched onto about who did this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you look at like what is somebody's motive for doing something, they're like, oh, it's Jeremy's motive because he wants the money. I'm like, okay, but here's the thing. You've got Sheila, who has documented mental illness, schizophrenia, who has been having so many outbursts for years that when Jeremy hears about this, and people are like, well, why didn't you call? Well, because this was happening all the time. And then they speak to, it was like the housekeeper or somebody that worked in the house who was like, yeah, the parents were saying that it was time for her not to have custody of the children because of all of this.
I don't know if you picked up at the time that one of the things that Jeremy Bamber had said to the police was that Neville and June had suggested to Sheila that perhaps they might foster the twins. And there was a question about whether he was lying.
No, he didn't. No, that was right.
He didn't make it up. Okay.
No, at 100%.
When you see a crime this violent, you feel like there's got to be a bigger motive here than just money. This is more of a crime of passion. This is more of a crime of desperation.
Yeah.
And that doesn't line up for me. Like Toby was saying, Jeremy was an odd dude. He didn't fit in the conservative farming country. Sheila has this documented mental illness that goes back, her mother, who then you find out, well, actually, she was adopted, right? So It wasn't actually her mother, but her mother, June, also had a lot of mental illness and had been hospitalized, had gone through electric shock therapy. And then Sheila was getting, some treatment from her mother who was treating her coldly, who's, calling her the devil's child at one point because she was sunbathing naked and flirting with boys and like ascribing like satanic behavior or thoughts to her or whatever. So Sheila leaves for London, goes to become a model, but then there's this ongoing mental illness. And it's not just a little, it's a lot.
People close to Sheila told police that she talked about hearing voices and being chased by the devil. One who'd witnessed her most recent breakdown said he was extremely scared for everyone's safety. Sheila behaved like a person possessed, he said, and she'd claimed she could hear the voice of God.
In the beginning, when you're like, yeah, they immediately assume this was a murder-suicide, you really can see why they thought that, because that seems a lot more logical to me than somebody sneaking through a window and getting out. You know, I think of when Toby always talks about like Occam's razor. On one hand, you have this situation that seems like it's horrible, but we often hear these cases where like, and I hate to say it, but you see cases where a parent snaps. We just had one in New Hampshire and kills their family. On the other hand, you have this much more intricately plotted where, again, we're supposed to like believe that there's all of this pre-coordination and everything that's going on that feels a little bit harder to see how it played out, I guess. So you can see why Sheila was the immediately first suspect that they went to.
And I'm wondering, Laura, if this happened today, whether the reaction might be different because of our understanding of mental illness. I mean, you can see why the public and the press wanted to not believe that this beautiful model, you know, kind of a, maybe you call it like a minor celebrity, somebody who looks good on the front page, like why you would want her to not be the villain, make her the victim, right? But we see today that, you know, this is actually a very sad story, you know, that her illness really caused her a lot of pain and the people around her. And it definitely reads like you find out like what's going on, the stressors that were happening to her, you know, her inability of her medical team to like really find a way to help her control her psychosis. You know, obviously you're in a locked house. You can see why the investigators originally went to murder-suicide, because I think that's
the most likely outcome.
It's the most likely outcome. Yeah. And I think that's probably what it is here. Instead of, you know, the brother who wasn't there somehow taking advantage of the opportunity for his sister having a mental breakdown and all this stuff in the house. You pair that with like all the weird things that ended up being attributed to bumbling Ron and other things, you know.
Look at this Bible. Oh, I'm just going to put it here.
That's where was this?
Which page? Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's put that back down. Wasn't that Stephen Graham in the TV series?
I believe so.
He came in. Anyway, I mean, I'm hoping that today that she would get better care, better attention.
Yeah.
And how old were these kids?
They were young.
Nephews?
They were not old.
They were not old. They weren't infants, but that kind of psychosis, like that's been in her medical history for a while. And you would think that today there would be like a better kind of intervention and that the family might have, I mean, I guess, you know, they were wise enough to get her like inpatient treatment and stuff like that. But you'd think that it would go differently for her.
So there were so many things, Toby, that led up to this conviction. You know, things that the police believed, things that happened during the trial, including one very shocking moment, in my opinion, that probably turned the jury all the way to finding him guilty. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is kind of a strange thing. So one of the things in the murder and then in the trial is that I guess when they went rabbit hunting, they would use silencers on their rifles so that you wouldn't make this blasting noise. And if you missed the first bunny, like all the other bunnies would disperse. Like if you kept it quiet, the bunnies would stick around. You could blast them too,
That's
apparently.
bad ethics. It's bad hunting
so
ethics.
disturbing.
Got to get those bunnies. So anyway, in the trial, it comes up and they find the silencer. It's actually the cousins who find it. And it's got some blood on it. And, you know, at the time, what you're really doing is you're testing for blood types, not DNA. So supposedly the only blood that would match to in the house was Sheila's. Was meant she wasn't the person who had killed herself because the silencer wasn't attached to the gun and she wasn't going to take it off after all that had happened. So the judge basically tells the jury, yeah, this could only be Sheila's blood. She's the only person who could have given this. And that kind of puts the jury in the situation where it's like, well, the only other suspect really is Sheila. So if she couldn't have done it, that kind of leaves us with Jeremy. So he must be guilty, which is, you can understand the logic, right? Of course, it turns out that's not actually the case, that it could have matched with somebody else. But, 40 years later, that's not getting him out of prison.
No, but 40 years later, you'll still be happy that you joined Patreon.
Yes.
That's true. 100%.
We're going to be thinking about it in 40 years, 100%.
40 years.
Business section.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that we'll still be doing this podcast in our 90s, and you'll be there with us, locked in at your Patreon rate for $5 a month. You can join us at the leading off level. You get exclusive content like the Crime Writers On After Show. Why are you laughing?
I was just thinking about our studio having that old people smell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it has middle-aged people smell.
Who would our sponsors be?
Metamucil.
I went all the way down a rabbit hole with that. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you can get the Crime Writers On After Show. We're gonna touch base with Toby. He's finally landed in Spain. We kind of put that off last week because we were doing our best ofs, but we want to find out about Chapter 1 in Toby's new Spanish adventure. Other things you'll get is more Toby Ball with Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club. Toby's guests are talking about the book By the Fire We Carry. We also can offer you up Crime Writers On's Rebecca Lavoie and her friend Mel Barrett in Something's Off, the new weekly podcast, actually multiple times a week right now because they are covering the Brian Walsh trial.
Oh, man, that trial.
All you got to know about this is that the guy's accused of making his wife disappear, and they found a whole bunch of Google searches on his computer, including what?
How long does it take a body starts to smell? How to best get rid of a body? How to best dismember a body? How do you get away with murder? Stuff like that.
And he also has a weird smile, so you know.
Also, videotape of him at Lowe's buying a dismemberment kit and then him checking himself out in the camera.
Yeah,
do they sell
that.
dismemberment kits at Lowe's these days?
Yeah, it's in the kids section.
It's a self-assembled dismemberment
kit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Fisher Price's My First Dismemberment Kit. If you join us at the Bricker scale level, you get an additional podcast. It's Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker. And this time, Laura went Christmas tree shopping or cutting. And for $5, what happened?
Well, here in New Hampshire, we have the White Mountain National Forest, and you can apply for a permit to cut down a tree in the forest for $5. And I thought, this is going to be an adventure. I dragged Lance out with a saw. We went in the woods, and you can hear all about it. We will never forget this Christmas tree.
Okay. If you join us at the Let's Do What We Do level, you get episodes of Crime Writers On early and ad-free. And if you are a deep diver, you get all that. Plus, you get to be official sponsors of Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club.
All right, Kevin. Does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Let's go ahead and fade that music out. Kevin.
Yes.
Who's our next fine sponsor?
Oh, it's our friends at Aura Frames.
Hey, friends.
If you're a last-minute shopper like me,
yes,
you know the feeling. Shelves are empty.
Yes.
And the ideas are running low. And that's
your wife is mad.
Everybody is happy, though, when they get an Aura Frame. Yep. Just ask me. I love the Aura Frame that I have hooked up in the kitchen. And we just have unlimited free photo and video uploads, and it goes right to our frame. You can set it so if you wanted to, give you a new photo every 5 minutes, every half hour, one a day, that'd be great. Think about this as a gift. You give it to somebody, and when they hook it up, they share the app, and you can send them a new photo every day.
And you can send 10 a day if you want to.
10 a day.
Everybody can send them photos. It's a really wonderful gift to give parents, to give grown kids, to give yourself or your wife.
Well, how many Aura frames do you want?
I don't know.
You can have more than one. I mean, you've got more than one place in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off of Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code
Crime Writers.
Crime Writers at checkout. That's auraframes.com. Promo code
Crime Writers.
Crime Writers. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Show your support by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Kevin?
Yes.
Who's sponsoring this fine program?
Oh, have you ever heard of HelloFresh?
Hola, Fresco.
Yeah, they're the #1 meal kit in America, making home cooking easier with chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients delivered straight to your door. But they're even serving up more to love now. HelloFresh has doubled its menu so you can choose from over 100 delicious options each week, including new seasonal dishes and recipes from around the world. Look, we recently had a nice meal on behalf of HelloFresh. It was the saucy pork burrito bowls.
Oh, those were good.
With cilantro, lime rice, salsa fresca, and smoky crema. It was very easy to make. You had only like about 9 different ingredients. That seems like a lot, but it's not. I mean, that's
it's not very many.
No, it's not very many. Very simple to make. I really love the fact that all you got to do is to bring your own salt, pepper, and cooking oil, and they got everything else. It's like a 3D printed cookbook.
Wow.
It's just everything that you would want, and here's how you make it. It makes for delicious meals.
And convenient. The best way to cook just got better. Go to HelloFresh.com/CWO10FM.
10FM.
CWO10FM. Now to get 10 free meals plus a free breakfast for life.
Breakfast.
1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's HelloFresh.com/CWO10FM.
CWO10FM.
To get 10 free meals plus free breakfast for life. Kevin, who's our next sponsor?
Hey, we're brought to you by Rula.
We are?
Yeah, telehealth has made mental health care accessible to millions of people, but finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and expensive out-of-pocket costs can make it feel like a huge barrier. Thankfully, Rula has you covered. Look, we're starting with a new calendar year. That means for a lot of folks, new health plans, new you, and it's a great time to take advantage of those benefits and find yourself a suitable therapist.
Yes.
Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists, enabling you to find the right therapist for your needs and preferences. And get this, your average copay is as little as $15 a session. You go on their website, boom, 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 they ask you a couple of questions, and that really helps them sort of funnel you to the right people that can get you started on your journey to better mental health.
Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head over to Rula.com/CWO to get started today. After you sign up and they ask where you heard about them, please tell them our show sent you. Go to RULA.com/CWO and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. So, Kevin,
yes,
who's our next sponsor for this episode?
Hey, we're brought to you by Quince.
Oh.
Here's the thing about being a great gift giver.
Yes.
When you find something truly perfect for everyone on your list, you almost don't want to give it away.
Nope.
And Quince has just about everything you want on your list. They've got the Mongolian cashmere sweaters, Italian wool coats, and Rebecca, well, I mean, you're supposed to kind of be buying Quince for other people.
Yes.
But you cannot stop buying Quince for yourself.
Listen, I plan to buy Quince for other people, but everything on my Christmas list is a Quince thing. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
You know that.
Tell them about the leather jacket. Now, you got that brown leather jacket from
it's like
Quince.
The cognac one. I got a leather little short biker jacket, and I wore it. Like, I got it like in a month, and I wore it like 20 times that month.
And what did you just do? You just bought another one in black.
I think one in black might be good, too. So I got a second one. It's so good. You have to admit, Kevin.
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're so good. And if Quince weren't like great sponsors of the show and friends of ours,
you'd be mad.
I would
apoplectic.
I would be apoplectic. But you can find gifts so good that you'll want to keep them, as Rebecca does.
Yep.
With Quince.
Yep.
Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
Oh.
Bonjour, hi. That's QUINCE.com/crime. Get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
So, Laura, there is a kind of blockbuster new revelation toward the end of the podcast when Heidi speaks to an officer who was working dispatch at the local police station the night of the murders. And his memory is very different than the police theory of the crime. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so she finds this guy, Milbank. He's the one that took this 999 call. I also like saying 999. I'm also going to start, when I call people, when you answer the phone, I'm going to go, hey, is that Rebecca there?
Is that Rebecca?
I like how they greet people on the phone. Hey, is that Milbank there? So he talks about taking this call This call is made from the farm. So somebody picks up the phone and calls from inside the house while Jeremy is outside with the police. And Milbank can kind of hear these sounds in the background. You hear him on tape talking to Heidi. She's texted him all this stuff. And then this part made me insane. When the story comes out and when the podcast comes out, now the police over there, I don't know what they did to, I can assume what happened is they just browbeat this guy.
This is after the New Yorker article came out,
yeah,
right?
After the New Yorker article comes out, they go out to talk to this Milbank, who claims he didn't talk to a journalist. He doesn't know what this is about. He never said this. He never remembers any of this. And I thought they did a really good job of dropping the tape of her talking to him. Oh, here he is giving me 2 thumbs up when I said it's going to be in the podcast too or something. But then he dies.
Not before something else happens, right, Toby?
What, that he clams up?
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't, he won't talk to her anymore. Yeah, I mean, he denies, that this happened. He says that it's all made up and won't talk to her anymore. And then he dies. So that's their last chance. But what's important about it is that there was somebody on the line inside the house while Jeremy was outside with cops. So somebody was alive inside the house, and that's clearly the person who did it. And it's almost definitely Sheila. So it seems like the kind of thing that like a 5th grader could just be like, yeah, well, if there's somebody alive in the house and the guy who you think killed everybody is outside the house with cops, then he probably didn't kill everybody in the house. But of course, as I'm sure we will talk about, that is not the conclusion that the CCRC don't follow that logic or don't believe that logic to be true, or do find that logic to be true, but find ways to weasel out of it anyway.
But I mean, even before you get that far, one of the things that she figures out in the first phone calls is that the report that has his name on it, he denies filling it out, writing it, right? Like he wouldn't have signed his name that way.
What was it say? Signed by?
It says signed Nicholas Milbank, and it's typed.
You see, I wouldn't sign it. I wouldn't sign it Nicholas Milbank. I'd sign it N.R. Milbank.
Huh. That's funny, isn't it?
So that's, if I'm asked to sign anything, I'll never sign anything Nicholas Milbank. It's always my initials.
Huh.
So now you do not trust the Essex Police Department as far as the length they are willing to go to protect this conviction, because this report has to do with like years later as they're doing like one of these sentencing reviews from a couple of years ago. And so instead of like actually going to him, somebody writes a report, says it's him, and signs it. And like you said, no one's asked me about this in years and years. I never participated in this. That's not how I would have signed my name. And so then later on when you find out like, oh, the Essex Police Department, oh no, we looked into it and asked him and he denies talking about it. It's kind of like, oh, should we believe the Essex Police Department on this either? But I mean, the great thing, though, is that we have all of her tape. And I understand why they edited episode 5 the way that they did. They were looking at some of the criticisms in the government report about, why they shouldn't believe the New Yorker interview because the journalist did this and the journalist did that. And we've already heard for ourselves that that's not the case. And so Bamber is right at the end. He's like, hang on to that tape because that's very important. And the tension is that refutes a lot of the half-assed conclusions that commission came to.
Yeah.
But the New Yorker, because of its journalistic tenets, isn't just going to hand over a bunch of raw material.
Of course.
And it seems like this government agency is too lazy to actually look at the names in the published piece and maybe talk to them. Now we're in a whole new chapter here with this podcast, so maybe that moves the needle because you can actually hear what he's saying.
I will say that is where I think this medium can be really powerful, because you can write that somebody said something. It is very different than hearing them say the thing, because the person can't deny that they said it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, making this podcast after the article, after the reaction to the article, was really, really smart. I just want to say that I found there to be a lot of in the dark DNA in this storytelling. And then I listened through the credits, and Samara Freemark was editor on the story. So it made complete sense to me. And I also found a lot of DNA some shared reporting chops between Madeline Barron and that team. And Heidi, Laura, we hear her go and interview these cousins, right? And they say they don't want to talk. And she just keeps going and gets so much from them. What did you think about that scene?
I love that. I think about, when I go out and do my work and you guys that have been journalists or, whatever, and you go out and you're like, okay, somebody says no. Do you just say, okay, well, thanks, have a nice day? Or do you say, yeah, no, you don't. You just keep saying, well, do you think you might reconsider? Well, and you hear like this whole situation where she's out there talking to the guy and then the lady drives in her big old car and goes in the house and she's like, well, are you sure? Are you sure? And then comes back out. Now gives her a statement and she's still trying and she's just doing it in a nice way and she's just kind of persisting and they keep talking.
We're just clearing a few little points.
I thought you weren't going to do anything.
Well, I'm not doing anything, but I'm
sorry.
Just having an informal interview.
Oh dear. No, David. Don't go watching newspapers soon because you said last time.
No, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any more than what you ask a few questions, and that will be it.
Just a very.
You just get the atmosphere of the understanding of it. Yeah.
That was fun to listen to as somebody that's been in that position, trying to get someone to talk that doesn't want to talk. It's always interesting to hear how people alter their approach and how they handle it when they're out there and they're like, well, I'd like the full story. I want to make sure it's accurate. I want to make sure we don't have anything wrong. I want to make sure I understand this correctly. But I liked the scene setting with that one, describing sort of where they were and how she drove out there and how that all played out. Because you could really see it. I could see it as she was describing it in the way that the story, that part was set up.
I have to say, this is why I like being an editor and not a reporter. That stuff scares the shit out of me. When someone says you don't want to talk to me, every bone in my body is like, okay. And I just, I don't like confrontation. I don't like pushing people to places they don't want to go or think they don't want to go. And like when reporters can do that and do it in a way that doesn't seem pushy or doesn't seem coercive, it's so deeply impressive to me. And also, really just lends a lot of undergirding to the storytelling. Toby, can you talk about these cousins that we hear from in the podcast? What do you make of these cousins, what they have to gain by talking, not talking, the murder's not happening, Jamie committing the murder? What do you think of these folks?
The scheming cousins?
They're tricky. Cousins are tricky.
They're very tricky.
It's like an S-town.
Yeah, they're interesting. I think it's pretty clear. I mean, this whole, they talk about Agatha Christie syndrome in like this sort of completely different context, but this does feel kind of Agatha Christie-ish in that it is like there's this estate and there's an extended family, and in order for these cousins who apparently don't have a whole lot of money to get money from the estate, the two kids who are going to inherit the actual money have to be kind of out of the picture. So, you can see where the motivation is for them if they are in fact scheming cousins. Now that one of them's dead, try and get the other one as being the perpetrator so that, and I think there's a law that he can't inherit money from people that he killed, which seems absolutely fine as a law, as long as you get the right guy for doing the murder. So that seems to be a motive that you can point to. And then, when especially, I guess it's David talks to them and is really kind of laying it on about what a jerk Jeremy was growing up and, disrespectful and all these problems and, had a temper and, wore fingernail polish, or I can't remember all the details at this point, but it was just a very negative portrait. So he's trying to paint this picture to reinforce this idea that Jeremy is a viable suspect. And I don't know at this point whether he was worried that maybe Heidi was going to try and sort of undermine that or what his sense of what the story was going to be was. And they also, they went in and I think, didn't they find the silencer?
Yes, under the stairs or something,
So
mysteriously.
they were just way too involved in the investigation, which, it's just the fact that the guy who's leading it is bumbling Ron is just so hilarious.
Are you saying that doesn't create confidence for you?
Yeah,
that his name is bumbling
and you've got
Ron?
these two cousins who are just like, oh, look what I found. Here's a silencer.
Hey,
and it looks
Ron.
like it's got blood on it. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what makes this story so interesting, is that it does kind of fall into these kind of tropes that you get from these English manor house murders. And it all kind of, you've got the cousins who are going to stand to inherit the manor. You've got the cute little kids. You've got the troubled sister. You've got this detective who shows up and he's a bumbler, but eventually they come up with this like wild theory of the case, but it's the kind of thing that these genius detectives in books and TV shows, that's the kind of thing they would come up with, and they fucking somehow get a conviction out of it, which is just wild.
So, Kevin, we talked briefly about the CCRC, but I'd like to get into it a little more with you. This is the commission that I guess is tasked with reviewing, cases in dispute, and deciding. It's sort of a conviction integrity unit, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of the way that they're running this thing?
Well, I think it sucks. I mean, I get that they're understaffed and underfunded, and I think part of that is because, the system doesn't like to put money towards institutions that undermine the system. But if the only thing that the public seems to know about this commission is that nobody's going to work, they don't have time to do the investigation, and people get outraged over the fact that a rapist who wasn't a rapist spent all this time in prison and the commission could have done something, your reputation is that you slag off. And okay, here's the biggest case that you've had, and you half-ass it, right? It's we couldn't have possibly gone and asked that person. We were just waiting for the New Yorker to give us all of their shit, and they wouldn't do that for some reason.
Laura hated that.
Yeah. I mean, I get that culturally, they might have expected the Times of London to do that, or OK Magazine, or whatever the hell, but I mean, the public was able to sort of get some kind of reform. I didn't even maybe call it reform, but some pressure on this commission in the past, and lawmakers and whatnot, to straighten up and fly right. And so they've made their decision on the Bamber case, but this audio tape is evidence not only of possible wrongdoing by police authorities, but also evidence of not a very thorough job by this commission. And I'd like to think that they could present this as new evidence and maybe get the public behind it, more than just the usual disgruntled advocates that, other people could get involved, and maybe allow him another bite at this apple. But yeah, you would hope that, if they're there to try to really find justice, that they really ought to be looking beyond what I think the major problem is here, is just the preconceived notion that this is definitely one bad guy, and if he says that he's innocent, he's lying.
James Patterson knows who killed Marilyn Monroe. From Hollywood glamour to haunting crime scene, these are the last days of Marilyn Monroe from #1 best-selling author James Patterson. Available wherever books are sold.
On December 16th, ID presents a new documentary event.
My dad disappeared off the face of the earth.
Uncover a 56-year-old mystery.
I asked Mike to come to the psychic with me.
The psychic was murder. He is in the basement.
And dig up the truth.
We were digging for months. There was nothing. All of a sudden, I hit something with the shovel. The police need to see this.
I kept that a secret for a long time.
The Secrets We Bury, an ID documentary event, December 16th at 9 on ID.
Kevin, who's our next sponsor?
Hey, we're brought to you by Rula.
We are?
Yeah, telehealth has made mental health care accessible to millions of people, but finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and expensive out-of-pocket costs can make it feel like a huge barrier. Thankfully, Rula has you covered. Look, we're starting with a new calendar year. That means for a lot of folks, new health plans, new you, and it's a great time to take advantage of those benefits and find yourself a suitable therapist.
Yes.
Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists, enabling you to find the right therapist for your needs and preferences. And get this, your average copay is as little as $15 a session. You go on their website, boom, 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 they ask you a couple of questions, and that really helps them sort of funnel you to the right people that can get you started on your journey to better mental health.
Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head over to Rula.com/CWO to get started today. After you sign up and they ask where you heard about them, please tell them our show sent you. Go to RULA.com/CWO and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out the new season of In the Dark, Blood Relatives. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for this podcast?
Yeah, I'm going thumbs up with this podcast. Obviously, anything that comes from the In the Dark team is something that I am interested in listening to. And I think what this did was it takes a case that at first blush, we all think we know what happened. This is a notorious case in England. Even if you don't know a lot about it, you've heard it, like this cultural reference to the farm. And they take a case where you think you know what happened and that you're not going to change your mind and dig deep and do tremendous reporting to show that there is more to this story. We get to hear from Jeremy, who is incarcerated in this case. I think it's really interesting that they conduct their phone calls 10 minutes a day because that's what he's allowed, to piecemeal the story together. And we hear some new information. And I think it also, for me, I thought was really interesting, kind of sheds light on some things that I would see as holes in the criminal justice system in England in terms of the type of post-conviction relief that is available to people and certain societal prejudices in place where they really don't want to look at something post-conviction because what would that mean about their system if they got it wrong? So this is a thumbs up from me. I'm going to be answering all of my phone calls, beginning them all by saying, hey, is that Rebecca there? Hey, is that Toby there? I just loved listening to this, and it was definitely dense, but it brought new information to light.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for the new season of In the Dark, Blood Relatives.
Yeah, I really like this. I'll be honest, I don't know the cultural references to this. I mostly know it from watching Whitehouse Farm murders that I thought was great. And then I read the New Yorker article when it came out. I just think it's an interesting case because it kind of hews so closely to, crime novels. Just the whole setup, the solution that was come up with, the characters that are in it. It feels like it's coming from fiction. Yeah, I mean, the reporting is just really good. They do have sort of the jaw drop moment in this. And, I think the case is made pretty conclusively that the reporter's trying to make. And I thought the storytelling was really good. I guess it might have been a little dense. I didn't really pick up on that, but part of it may have been I was just sort of enthralled by the story. And, it's something I had been looking forward to for a while, was hearing this. So anyway, big thumbs up. I'm hoping I remember how much I like this when we get to our next top 10 at the end of the year, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to remember what my reaction was, but I like this a lot.
Kevin Flynn.
I'm also a thumbs up. I only knew about this case from the HBO series, The Whitehouse Farm Murders, and I was pretty much convinced that Jeremy Bamber was kind of a dirty bastard. I didn't think I could be swayed that he wasn't the killer because a lot of people aren't. Certainly, all of the odd things that he did certainly seem sinister, from whether he called the emergency line or the business line at the police department to putting down the family dog for apparently no reason or jetting off to whatever. But since then, we certainly have had a lot of experience with demeanor evidence, and he was largely convicted because he seemed like someone who would be capable of deviance, as opposed to the original story, which was that his sister, who had a history of psychosis and was, by all accounts, in crisis, that she alone inside the locked house killed the family, as opposed to Jeremy setting this all up. They come up with some really good evidence. It really swayed me changed my mind. I'm a believer now. So for that, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I'm giving it a thumbs up too. You know, one thing I want to mention, Kevin, is that people in the podcast, we hear them saying like, she would never, she would never, nobody would ever, unless there was something really wrong, unless they're either completely off the rails or there's something really wrong with them. And so people say like, she would never die by suicide. She would never X, or he would never X. It's like, that does not mean that they didn't just because you think they wouldn't. That comes up a lot in this podcast. I think this podcast is very, very good. It starts out very conventionally, which surprised me. It just tells a very straight version of the story. If she was born, she was adopted, she grew up, and then this, and then this, and then this. And initially I was thinking like, this just sounds like a conventional, like, iHearty kind of storytelling style, but the reveals and the timing of everything, and I do understand though that they just need to tell the story and get it out, and it made me think about The Preventionist and the story where I thought they couldn't make a strong case because they sacrificed including a lot of important stuff for the sake of the story sounding good and flowing and being good and being entertaining and so forth. This kind of does it right, where you find out what happened, you get all the facts against him, you get everything that you think you need to know, everything that the public over there already knows that we don't. And then it has these incredible reveals. They're placed perfectly. And I think the smartest thing they could have done was waiting until after the article came out to make this, because including the material that they could only have gotten after the New Yorker published a story is pretty astonishing. Especially when you hear somebody has denied speaking to a reporter from the New Yorker, and it's literally on tape that she says, "I'm Heidi, I work for the New Yorker." It's just really good. And so I have to give it a really strong thumbs up. I think this podcast is just terrific. And there's enough DNA from In the Dark in it that although it starts out sounding a little unfamiliar to that brand, it lands the plane exactly where that brand lands the plane. So yeah, big thumbs up for me for this podcast. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the Crime of the Week. After a break-in at a Virginia liquor store in which dozens of bottles were smashed and consumed, authorities caught the culprit red-handed. They found a raccoon, drunk as a skunk, sleeping it off in the bathroom. Police say the critter fell through a ceiling tile after hours, then went on a rampage up and down the aisles. After breaking some bottles, the raccoon lapped up the distilled spirits. He somehow made his way to the bathroom where he was found face down, spread eagle, and sleeping off his bender. It's just the latest in a series of stories about wild animals overindulging. There was that feral pig in Australia that stole 3 six-packs and got into a fight with a cow. And then there was that bear in Turkey who sampled hallucinogenic honey. For his part, the raccoon was returned safely to the wild, uninjured, hungover, and contemplating his life choices. So panel, all of the animal kingdom seems to be shimmying up to the bar. What is the next popular wildlife drink? Laura Bricker.
Fireball?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people
it
like
is winter. Yeah, people like it. And that raccoon has gone everywhere. Like, there are so many funny memes popping up about that raccoon. It just kind of...
Great Saturday Night Live skit about it this week. Great one.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Toby Ball, what do you think is the next popular wildlife drink?
I don't know for sure, but I would love to see a squirrel have a little vodka and Red Bull.
Oh, what do you think, Kevin?
Wild turkey, of course.
Oh, very, very good.
Oh.
All right, Laura Bricker, if folks want to reach out to you and say hi and learn more about your skinny White Mountain Christmas tree, how can they find you online?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky.
What about you, Toby Ball? How can you be found?
At Toby Ball NH on Blue Sky and at Toby Ball 603 on Instagram.
Kevin Flynn?
I'm a Kevin P. Flynn.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or everywhere else, you can find me at Reb Lavoie. Also, check out my podcast on YouTube. It's called Something's Off. You can find the show everywhere at Crime Writers On, TikTok, Facebook, etc. But mostly you should join our Facebook group if you're on Facebook. The group is awesome. It's thorough. It's smart. It's supportive. It's, I think, the best Facebook group I've ever seen. Get episodes early and ad-free and everything else we make at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. Our theme song was composed and performed by Tyler Gibbons, and our editor is the really wonderful Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in the Caitlin Rogers Project Studio, also known as Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement where we also have a collection of rifle silencers with our extended families. I'm F. Ball with Crime Writers. Thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later.
Oh, why can't I hear you?
I don't know.
Because we weren't talking.
Oh, okay. Somebody just knocked on my door. I don't know who it was.
It was a Joho.
I'm not expecting anyone. I'm not going out there.
Crime Media. James Patterson knows who killed Marilyn Monroe. From Hollywood glamour to haunting crime scene, these are the last days of Marilyn Monroe from #1 best-selling author James Patterson. Available wherever books are sold.
Did you know you can save up to 70% on top brands this holiday season at FromRebel.com? From trending toys to espresso machines, Rebel is your one-stop shop for gifts that wow for way less. Every day, Rebel drops thousands of new products for up to 70% off from brands like UPPAbaby, Nuna, Baby Bjorn, Breville, Nespresso, KitchenAid, Le Creuset, and more. But deals go fast because each is one of a kind. From holiday gifts, home upgrades, and treats for yourself, all for way less at FromRebel.com.
Nothing brings us together like Eggland's best eggs. Always so fresh and delicious, plus superior nutrition like 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat compared to ordinary eggs. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.